I am coming to you live from fall break. It has been so great. I have loved every minute of time I've gotten to clean. I've gotten to craft. Well, okay, not really yet, but I have cleaned my craft room and I'm ready. I've gotten to organize, I've gotten to read books, I've gotten to sit in the hot tub. It has been lovely. I've gotten to stay up late, sleep in a little bit. It's just been great. So, one of the things I had planned to do over the spring break was, I just said spring break, fall break. This is the first one we've had that is not Thanksgiving break. So, forgive me, I'm still getting used to saying fall break. Anyway, one of the things I wanted to do this fall break was to do some book wrap-ups because it's been a while with school starting. I've kept up with the reading. I just haven't kept up with the talking about the books, and I feel like that's something I really love to do and people have loved to see it. So I thought, I'm just gonna keep going. So I'm at July. Yep, July, you heard it, July. But that's okay. I did have to go back, however, and I took some notes because I don't remember things past like 5 minutes after they happen, generally speaking, and I had no idea what character names were, all the things. So anyway, I'm gonna do July's book wrap up today. I don't think I'm gonna do August or September today just because it is already after 4 o'clock and I have some other things that I need to get done as well. So we'll see. Anyway, here we are back in July. I read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 books in July. The first one, and I'll put them on this side. I have more room on this side this time. The first book I read, actually, I don't remember the order, but they're in relatively the order that I read them in. The Perfect Divorce, Geneva Rose. I don't know how she says her name, but I say Geneva. So if I'm wrong, I apologize. But I had just finished The Perfect Marriage, and so The Perfect Divorce, wow. It was a wild ride. So this book starts kind of right where the other one left off. Not really, but the storyline. It's 11 years, I believe, in the future, and Sarah Morgan has remarried Bob, who was a lawyer at her law firm, and they have a daughter together. Fast forward to an event that happens in their marriage. I don't ever want to give too many spoilers, but she finds herself in a position where she wants a divorce from Bob. And so the wild ups and downs of how this plays into the previous book and her ex-husband Adam, and how that was all interrelated. It's just wow. And so that one I did give 5 stars. That one was an amazing read. And I would definitely recommend reading them back to back, simply because you don't lose the storyline that way. If you're like me and you read constantly, it could have gotten a little bit where I would have had to go back and refer to the other book, but not really. You can definitely read it as a standalone, but I wouldn't. I would absolutely read them, The Perfect Marriage and then The Perfect Divorce. But anyway, I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars because it was amazing. Next, I'm gonna go down this way. Next, I read The Hobbit. So, Katie's boyfriend at the time and my boss, my principal, and my assistant principal and other people have read this book, read this series. It's not my jam. I'm not much of a fantasy. Well, okay, yes and no. I'm not much of the Hobbit style fantasy reader. However, all these people had read it and I thought, you know what, by golly, I am going to read it too. So I did. And I actually really liked it. I gave it 4 stars. I am in the middle right now of reading the second one in this series, which is, I don't remember. Anyway, in the Lord of the Rings, there's like 7 of them, I think, 5, I don't know. But the second one I have stopped, not because I wasn't enjoying it. It was just too much of the same right on the back of the first one for my brain. I just could not. Not to say I wasn't enjoying it, but other books came into my life. And so I've put that one on hold, but I have it on, what do I have it on? It was a freebie, I think, on Audible, because I know I didn't check it out. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to just say, I'll just pick it up eventually. So I believe it was an Audible freebie. Anyway, I like it. I really liked The Hobbit. It is the tale of Bilbo Baggins, and he gets a visit from the wizard Gandalf and a bunch of his little merry men, his little dwarf friends, and they come and take him out of his comfy little hobbit home, and they take him on an adventure, and they're going to go to try to steal a treasure that is heavily guarded by a big beast of an animal. I wrote his name down. What was it? Smaug, S-M-A-U-G, Smaug, the Magnificent. And during their journey, he runs into the, hello, my pretty, or no, that's Wicked Wizard of Oz. Anyway, the icky guy that lives in the waters of the cave, Golem, I think is his name. Anyway, it was good. So if you're not a fantasy lover, I would say give it a shot, because I'm not either, and I actually really liked it. So I do have plans to complete the series because I don't like leaving a thing undone. So eventually, I will probably finish that series, at least the second book, because I'm halfway through it. It's a 14-hour listen, and I'm like 7 or 8 hours in, so I will definitely finish. Anyway, the next one, Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers. This one is by Jesse Sutanto. I think that's how you say it. Anyway, this was funny. I had this one recommended to me by a good friend. This one, and then the one that goes with it, which is something, Vera Wong's Snooping something. Anyway, I bought them both on Audible. They were only a couple dollars each, so I just bought them rather than use a credit. And they, the first one that I finished was really cute. I gave it 4 stars as well. It starts with Vera Wong. She has a tea shop in Chinatown, and it starts with her. She's very a proud Chinese lady with all of her customs, her timeliness, her how you live your life kind of lifestyle. Her son, who is, I believe, either in college or just finished up college, is living his life. She does not get nearly the visits or the time with him that she would like. And so she's lonely. She wanders down into her tea shop in the morning, one morning, and discovers a dead body. And so the whole story, how is a murder funny? Well, it just is. And this one is it's really funny. She meets a bunch of people along the way, and she's not very impressed with the police and how they are handling the case. And so she's just going to solve it her own way. And so she tries. And along the way, she does find out a lot of things about the deceased and meets a lot of people in his life along the way, and it's very entertaining. So 4 stars for me. That was a good one. The next one that I read, I'll start up here now, The Plinko Bounce. It was really good. I gave this book 5 stars. 5 stars. That's a great book. So this one was about was it a small town? I feel like it was a fairly small-ish area, and the lawyer, Andy Hughes, is tasked with defending someone who he had previously had issue with as a lawyer, like defending him, and he has pleaded guilty to a crime, and it was a kind of a mess, but he picked the defense based on the fact that he knew, I'm trying really carefully to watch my words, the person who confessed really was banking on the lawyer to get him off of all charges based on some things that had previously happened and his previous track record, that is to say, the lawyer. And it was a murder charge that he pled guilty to. So it was really interesting, kind of keeps you guessing the whole way. I kind of thought I knew, but I didn't know. You know what I mean? And so it was good. It read a lot like a John Grisham, and that could have been simply because of the lawyer-esque kind of vibe, but the writing was very good. Really liked the writing. So gave that one a 5 star. The next one, Luckiest Girl Alive. That one was really, wow, that one was really good. I gave it 4 stars, and I'm not sure why. I remember that one pretty well. It was about, I think the writing for me and the way they wrapped it up just wasn't ideal, but it was a really good story. So it centers around, I didn't write down her name, but the main character was involved in a school, traumatic school incident, and more than one, actually, a couple trauma incidents that she had growing up in kind of an orphaned foster care type of setting. And the school incident involved a shooting, and there was a documentary that was being made about it. And so she was asked to participate in that, and that brought up, and that's how the author kind of told the story of how everything went down, how it happened. But there was a big twist, and it was really good. That one, I'm not gonna say a lot more, except that definite trigger warnings, wow. But it wasn't, I don't know how to say it wasn't the main part of the book, because that doesn't really make sense, but it wasn't. It was the how things were being handled in the here and now that was the main attraction of the book. But I really did enjoy that one too. That was good. The next one, The House of My Mother. I had no idea. So many books on my list. I have no idea why I pick them. They just look interesting, intriguing. I heard the name mentioned. I thought, oh, I'll put that on my list. So this was one of them. Had no backstory here. Did not realize that the main character, Sherry, who is telling about the house of her mother, was Sherry Frankie, who was the daughter of Ruby Frankie, who was a YouTube mom person, vlogger, and grew to really a huge following on Facebook, and then became what I will call a victim of a cult sort of situation with Jody Hildebrandt. And this story is told by the daughter, and just about her take on all this and some of the violence that occurred, the estranged family members, and wow, it was not uplifting even a little bit. Like, if you're in a bad mood, don't read that book. But it was really interesting. I always like to hear the other side of the story. You know, I only heard a little bit about it in the media, but what I heard had, was very little compared to obviously reading the book. But it was read, I believe this one I listened to. I quit trying to keep track of what I read and what I listen to, because ultimately it doesn't matter. But I don't know. I do know I listened to this one because I think it was read by the daughter. Anyway, really good, not uplifting, very sad. The next one was called Rich Girl Summer, and that was an Audible freebie, and so I thought, why not? Oh, Back to the House of My Mother, I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, and I think simply because it was such a downer of a book, but they're trying to get their life kind of back together, and that's good. That's the silver lining there. Anyway, Rich Girl Summer, I gave 4 stars, and it starts out with Valerie, who is an event planner, and she has begun planning, I can't remember what she calls them, but they're not funerals, but they're like celebrations of life. I think that's what she calls it. Celebrations of life, get-togethers. And so she is hired by this wealthy family to have a celebration of life for their father. And things go really, really horribly wrong. During the ceremony, she's violently ill from something that she's eaten and has to basically conduct the entire party from inside a bathroom where she's vomiting, and it's a mess. So it starts out kind of funny in that way, but then she is contacted again by the rich family's kind of the guy who just oversees their everything, their helper. He chauffeurs for them, I think, or does odds and ends for them. Anyway, he's kind of like their life guy, and he contacts her, and his boss, who is one of the sons of the man who passed away, wants her help, and she ends up basically trading her services for a summer in this amazing vacation-esque kind of place, and her services are pretending and posing as his long-lost daughter. And there's the reasons and everything behind it. You'll have to read to find out, but really cute rom-com, super goofy, just a really good, really fast read. I listened. I want to say it was only like maybe 8 hours. I could be wrong also, but I remember it being pretty quick, and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I have decided either I need to start talking faster, talking less, or reading less, and probably the only one of those that may happen is the talking faster. So the next one I read, The Wishing Game. I'm going to just go across now. The Wishing Game was fantastic. I gave it 5 stars. It is Lucy Hart. Just check my notes. Lucy Hart is an adult who is working as a instructional assistant, trying to get her teaching certifications and all that. And she wants to adopt a foster child that is part of their group that they're at their school. And so she wants to adopt Christopher. The only problem is she doesn't make enough money. She has roommates, and she just has this great connection with this kid, but she just doesn't see how she's going to be able to do that. There was a book series early on in her life called the Clock Island book series by a kind of an eccentric author named Jack. And he decided to kind of come out of retirement, and there are reasons for that you'll learn in the book. It goes kind of in depth and gets a little bit, like serious real life events that happened to make him kind of go dark for a while. He decides he's going to have a contest for anyone that can answer some riddles. So you have to apply to be in the contest. Well, Lucy applies. She gets granted the right to come or the opportunity, I should say, to come and compete for the grand prize, which is a copy of first edition copy of a new book, I believe. So anyway, I won't give away the ending except to say that it is a sweet, happy ending, tender-hearted story that you will love. That's all I'm gonna say. Watch me go. All right, next is Nothing Like the Movies. So this is the sequel to Just Like the Movies. Is that what it was called? Anyway, it was it started with Wes and Liz where they had left off, and they had left off going away to college. Well, right away when they go away to college, tragedy strikes in Wes's life. He has to go back home, and he and Liz part ways. Well, he did not really, the reason they parted ways was not because anybody fell out of love with anybody. It was just family circumstances, and he didn't want to hold her back from any of her successes. And so it's just about them finding their way back, him returning to college, and it's just cute. And I gave it 4 stars. It was adorbs. The next one, not as adorable, Everything is Tuberculosis by John Green. So this was, again, one of those books. I didn't even know it was nonfiction. I just signed up for it when I saw that it was out, went on my Libby app, put it on hold at the library, and checked it out. And I listened to this one as well. It's nonfiction. So John Green is an advocate for global health reform, and this is his look into and his research into the disease known as tuberculosis and how it has affected people through the ages. It's a disease of poverty, and he looked into why. Why is it a disease of poverty? Why have we never been able to eradicate it? What's going on? And it was really eye-opening. Now, I do like him as an author. It was really interesting. I didn't necessarily completely agree with all of his viewpoints, which is fine. We all don't. But his research seemed very solid. He actually met a young man by the name of Henry, I believe, in 2019, suffering from tuberculosis in Sierra Leone. And that's what kind of started him on this journey to learn more about tuberculosis. It's an odd book to recommend, but I gave it, like I said, 5 stars. So it was really, really good. It was hard I had to back up and re-listen to parts, but knowing full well, I'm never going to remember dates and names and things like that. That's just not what my brain holds on to. It holds on to my telephone number from when I was 5. I know that. But I don't hold on to certain other things. But I had to kind of rewind and re-listen because nonfiction is like that for me. You don't really want to miss what they're talking about. Okay, then moving on, my last 2 books. This next one, Home is Where the Bodies Are, is also by Geneva Rose. I gave it 4.5 stars. It was wild. It starts with Beth, who is one of 3 children of the couple she's in their hometown. She's never left, and she is caring for her mother, who passes away in the first few pages of the book. So as she is passing on, her mother says something about, I can't remember what the words were, but basically don't believe what was told to you. And so as she's trying to finalize her mother's estate, her two siblings, Michael and Nicole, come to join. So Beth is the oldest, Nicole is the middle daughter. She has a very touch and go relationship with drug addiction, and has kind of burned a lot of bridges with her family. Michael is the youngest, and he is a pretty wealthy, I can't remember what it is that he does, but pretty wealthy guy living somewhere else. And the book is, a lot of it is just about their relationship, the siblings, but also while they're going through the parents' things, Beth I almost called her Sarah. Beth comes across a videotape, a family home movie, and she sticks it in. And of course, it ends up being recorded over by their parents in this horrible scene, this horrible situation that is happening. And it changes everything for everybody, including why their dad left shortly after that. And is he gone forever? Was he killed? Is he dead? What happened to him? So really good story. A lot of twists and turns, as she's famous for. And the very last book that I read in July was called The Insulin Resistance Solution. Doesn't that sound amazing? Another nonfiction. And where did I point? There we go. This one was just about beating insulin resistance using what we know about sugar, about inflammatory disease, and all those things. Some kind of tricks to try, and just some, I definitely have just a real love-hate relationship with sugar, and I've always, tried to find little tricks and things that will work, recipes that I can try that will please the palate and not make me crave sugar the way I do. Anyway, for that reason, it was a really good read. And I would recommend any of those kind of books. But that is my July wrap up here as we sit halfway through October. Is it halfway? Yeah, tomorrow's the 16th, right? Oh my gosh. So next book wrap up, I will wrap up August. And then maybe I'll do September right back to back. I don't know what I'm doing, people. I don't know. But that was 12 books wrapped up for July. It's just these 2 pages here. I cut them waterfall. So pretty soon though, look, I'm September. Have I even glued anything in for October? No. And I've read a lot of books already in October, but I get to design some more pages. Maybe I'll do that tonight, my last little fall break fling. We'll see. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you've read some good books lately. Drop some in the comments for me to read. Not that I don't have a TBR as long as, all of the arms of all of us, but I always love new ideas, and especially if it's one you've read and liked. Drop it in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed, and come back for more. See you soon. Goodbye.